Hi everybody. I'm trying to find a really strongest filter out there to make sure this is covered. Welcome, nice to see you. Happy Thursday, everybody. I really didn't make an effort for you guys to this evening. There's no makeup there. I'm hoping this filter is strong enough. And literally on top of my voice, I just said, get off your Wi-Fi. So yes, here we are. Some adult interaction. Nice to see you guys. I'm just going to be so much more relaxed today. And I thought I have my cup of tea. You guys maybe have a glass of wine or your cup of tea. Ask me questions. I was going to tell you a little bit about the last few weeks of emails. I had a look and I wanted to see what the most questions come from, and I realized that recently a lot of questions has been about what they call nose to mouth lines. Nose to mouth lines, or nasolabial line or nasolabial fold. It's the line that starts from here and ends here. When I have that question about people come to my clinic and they ask me, can I have fillers here, or I'm not very happy with this. For some people that can be quite deep and quite profound. It really varies. So many years ago, at the beginning of my aesthetic career, we used to place fillers in this area. It was quite simple. But as years went by and aesthetic developed and we understood things and we did things differently, we learned to address the cause of a deep nasolabial fold or nose to mouth line. It's deeper and the deeper they are, it's because of a volume loss in the face, which can have different reasons. With age we lose volume in the face, things sags, droops down. A lot of high impact exercise such as running, spinning, can actually premature age you, because you basically lose a lot of fat in the face. So you tend to have you become quite lean, but also the face becomes quite lean. We get quite hollow temples, we get quite hollow mid-face, under eyes becomes quite sunken. So this is kind of quite similar to the aging process, but can also be caused by exercising, a lot of exercising. So when that happens, we tend to lose the fat and face becomes lean. That means things kind of droops down. So the line here also becomes quite deep, and you get jowls and a little bit of sagginess here. So I always suggest, and in my approach of treatment and the correct approach of treatment, it's to restore that volume, address the cause first, and secondary, perhaps, if there is still if you're still not happy with the line here, then that can be treated. But first and foremost, I think addressing the volume loss in the mid-face. When I say mid-face, I mean this part of the face, which is under the eye and the medial part of the cheeks. I hope you guys can see. So yes, this I would start with addressing the cause of the deep nasolabial fold, and it's basically we use cheek fillers for that purpose. But depending on what layer of the face we are, with the age of the patient, the expectation, the commitment to it, things like that, various things, that can be, we can use different products. So it's not one fits all. To address this, the cause of nasolabial fold, which can be quite deep sometimes, and that can actually be harsh for the face, addressing the cause by add and restore the volume in the mid-face, sometimes in the lateral part of the cheek as well. It's how we should start this treatment. Once that is done, and there is still quite a significant line between the nose and the mouth, then other things that can be used. I personally quite like skin boosters for that area, because at that stage you don't really need to have fillers here. You can just, if you have that dentation, or if you have that line, you can actually address that skin deep rather than with fillers. Because sometimes if you have fillers placed here and fillers placed here, you lose that softness in the face. Your face kind of becomes quite monkey look. It's quite heavy. It's quite, you can see when somebody have had fillers. I can see when the fillers are placed here. And another thing as well, which I think some people, there should be an element of, it is natural for the face to have this line. So if you actually trying to remove this line, the face will not look natural. There is no, it's almost like when people complain about their smile lines. There are some lines that need actually to maintain the natural result, the natural. Can you see how tired I am this evening? I'm so tired this evening. It's a result of homeschooling, by the way. I'm just, yeah. I do apologize, but I carry on. So sometimes I feel that it's too much if you trying to fill this area and restore the volume here. Is not going to look natural. So it's all down to assessment. It's all down to step by step, adding a little bit, perhaps get the patient back 4 to 5 weeks, and assess the treatment plan again. Sometimes some fillers have some hydrophilic effect, so which means that they attract water. They actually expand a little bit, and they will look much better and more settled. So sometimes you actually feel that, that's okay for now. I'm just going to leave it as that. So it's important that it's important that you come back for your follow-up and have that assessed, or even if you're not going to have any treatment. Can help minimize those lines. I think there are some amazing, which I'm going to talk to you about on Monday. There are some anti-aging creams that I love and I swear by, but you have to also understand that cream doesn't do what fillers do. So on a very superficial, it has to be combined with other aesthetic elements such as fillers or skin boosters, but it depends how deep your lines are. So how is the homeschooling going? Whoa. How is it going? Yes, I hands up. It's hard. I'm a doctor, I'm not a teacher, put it that way. This would go down to one of my worst Insta lives. So please guys, feel free to ask me any questions, because I think half of it, I kind of like, my head wasn't in the right place. But yes, I wanted to talk to you about it because I think we get a lot of questions about that. We get a lot of questions about nose to mouth, and but first and foremost, it's important that if there is a significant volume loss, that it has to be addressed first, and it might improve everything significantly, and this line will not worry you as much. Skin boosters, can you explain what they are? Yes, I can. Skin boosters. If you imagine you're cooking spaghetti, if you overcook a spaghetti, they all kind of get stuck together and becomes quite hard. That's fillers. But if you normally cook spaghetti and they're quite jelly and they kind of like glides everywhere, that is skin boosters. Does that make sense? This is my spaghetti analogy. I think skin boosters are not as hard and they don't last as long. They're not cross-linked, but they are working very different from fillers. They do, obviously they placed more superficially. Most of them, it works in courses. There are products there in them. There are ingredients in skin boosters that you need to wait and 3-4 weeks, and then you need to get back to the area and you need to inject again. So skin boosters are injectable, but they work differently from fillers. Did that make sense? So we have Profilo, we have Hydromax. My favorite is Hydromax. There is Redensity 1. There is a few. I have my favorite is obviously Hydromax. I love it. I have amazing results with that. I have that injected in my face, and I think they are quite light, and yeah, it's amazing. But you know, you obviously have to be committed to it. To go back to your injector after 3 weeks and have that area injected again. I missed some questions, but feel free to ask them again. I think I lost them. Can you go back and have a look at them? Oh yeah, you can. Do you use any supplements? Loads. I am supplement crazy. I love supplements. I have magnesium, I have anything to do with sleep. I love my sleep. I have zinc, vitamin C, vitamin D. I have a very good nutritionist, Jenny, who recommends all of those stuff for me, and I have a huge box full of them, which I love to take. Any other questions? How long do they last? If you mean skin boosters, they last about between 6 months. It's more or less. Yes. Oh my God, yes, absolutely. I was actually having that conversation with a friend, and I don't know about you guys, but my sleep pattern is all over the place. I tend to, because I don't have really much time for myself, I tend to, the time I have for myself it's more like at the end of the evening. So that's the time, and then I stay awake. I do my reading, I do my listening to my tapes, and do my journaling and answering emails. So yes, it's becoming later and later. You would never have me down to sleep later than 11 maximum. Now it's 1 o'clock, 1:30, 2. It's crazy, and the children are exactly the same. Well, not that late, but you know. So yes, sleep is definitely changed for me. Also, my eating habit. I eat so much more sugar, and I never used to. I think it's just comfort eating. But I'm going to talk about that actually on Monday, in terms of your skin and how the eating habit can affect it, and what we can do about it in terms of keeping it fresh. Hi Ben, I can see you're joined. Do you want to ask me a question, darling? Yes, so in terms of skin boosters, we sometimes also put them in lips, which I think looks amazing. If you are not sure about lip fillers, you can try a little bit of skin boosters and see how you feel about them. They are super light and super delicate, so it looks super natural. And yeah, I actually love, if you, probably not great if you have very thin lips, because it's just not going to, or mature lips, it's not going to really do much. But if you already have, you know, you've had great lips, but they're a little bit deflated, and you want to see the effect of injections in the lips, but not lip fillers, I think is a good gateway. Yes, I love skin boosters around the eyes, especially in crow's feet, because I don't like Botox around the eyes. I think you lose the movements and the smile lines, and I think skin boosters around crow's feet and a little bit under here, especially those lines you get over the cheeks, which a lot of people complain about. I think fillers can make you look a little bit hamstery there sometimes. Skin boosters are amazing. Tony and I are going to talk about skin on Monday. Tune in, everybody. That's what's going to happen. She is skin expert. Together with me, we're going to talk about our essential and must have, because obviously we all talk about skin in like times like this, you know, with skincare is super important. It's a feel-good factor, etc. And I think I get so many questions. I've put something on the site for you, and it makes things look so simple. I'm full of bright ideas these days because I have a lot of time. So we are going to talk about that. Yes. I don't like Botox around the eyes, but that's for me personally. Sometimes it works beautifully, but you just have to be really, really gentle with that. I sometimes see some celebrities when everything is, they get too much Botox here, and it just especially male faces, when they have had so much Botox around the eyes, and when they smile, nothing moves, nothing happens. It's just not a great look. So yes, how are you guys doing with homeschooling, and how are you guys doing with the lockdown? Feel free to tell me. Questions. I very much like, sometimes I think I have actually, going back to nasolabial fold, the nose to mouth, I actually sometimes, if the patient's not thinking about it, but you know, you've kind of addressed everywhere else and in the cheek area, and sometimes I think it actually will, if it's still too heavy and harsh, I think I actually suggested, I said, why don't we put a little bit of skin boosters in this area, and I think it will just soften things a little bit. Struggling, had enough now? Yes. Over it, yes, same. I think if you look at, going back to the lockdown, I think if you don't think about the light at the end of the tunnel, does that make sense? If you think, I sometimes feel like I just need to surrender to this and just let the universe decide what's going to happen. Either is next week, the light is going to be next week or next month. I'm just going to think about the next 24 hours. I'm actually okay with that. But, it's when you start kind of having anxiety about what's happening next week, what's gonna, how long it's gonna, you think, what if this carries on? That's when the anxiety kicks in. But yes, I feel I've had enough every single day. But I also was having this discussion with a friend of mine that I also feel like it has really changed me. It really has changed me completely. And the growth, don't get me wrong, I'm as fed up as anybody else, but I think the growth that I have gone through because of it, I don't think it would probably wouldn't have happened, if I'm honest. I think I was a little bit too spoiled and perhaps took things a little bit too granted, which I will never do again. But, just to be able to be with friends and just, I don't know. I just think, that was me. I think once it's important that you remember that, I think because we tend to isolate ourselves, well, we are isolated, but I think this is what really helps me as well, is when I talk to other moms, when I talk to other friends, and I hear that they're going crazy too, that really makes me feel better. Does that make sense? Like I feel okay, it's just not me. Everybody's struggling with it. But when you don't hear other people struggle, you think it's just you. But, once you hear that everybody is really struggling, you think, okay, I'm going to be okay because, look, we all in this together. I hate that phrase. But, what you did, online shopping. What do I do to cheer myself up? Oh God. I mean, there are some unhealthy habits that has kicked in. Online Amazon shopping, comfort eating, Netflix. I'm going to tell you a secret. This is not going to be a secret, but I had 3 donuts yesterday. Literally, this would be unheard of in any other circumstances ever. My children, I was embarrassed because my children counted the donuts in the box and they pulled me up on it and they said, this is how many we bought, this is how many we had, this is how many was in the box. What happened? I had to fess up. So, I was ashamed, I was caught, but, this is what I mean. Like, you've got to do what you've got to do. I also feel that, yes, it did happen. I also feel we have to do what we need to do to survive. It's not forever. If you need to eat 4 donuts, eat 4 donuts. If you need to watch 5 hours of Netflix, you do that. I love that emoji. That is the emoji that I will be using. But you do what you need to do. That's okay. If you need to, cry your eyes out, that's okay. And I've said that to the kids. I'm like, I'm just whatever it takes, You've got to be, our life is never going to be the same again. It's not the same. So we're not the same people. So what if I didn't eat donuts before? I do now. I don't know. I was going to talk about aesthetics. Now I'm talking about donuts. This is what I mean. Yes. Gosh, this is a conversation that has lost this. But seriously, you guys. I mean, we do what we need to do to survive. Really, I love when the Amazon guy comes in and deliver a packet. That's for me. It's just the highlight of my day. Well, and also when the kids go to sleep, and also a good time. But I do feel pressure that I need to do things that I'm like when we go back to work, we won't be able to do this. I need to do this. I need to do that again. Actually, you don't really need to achieve anything. You just need to survive it. So, any other questions? Face, lips, cheeks, nose before I leave you guys. Any questions? By the way, we do Thursday mornings. We do virtual consultation. Tune in, we can chat, and if you need to send me pictures, please do. I get in touch. If you have any questions about skin boosters, let me know. Anything that you need to know that also I haven't covered today. And if you want me to talk about anything else on Monday, anything specific, again, let me know. I don't know about useful, but I hope it was a little bit entertaining. Cheekbones with fillers look really obvious. Does that make sense? Yes, it does actually. I think what I also always ask, if you can bring pictures, depends what age you are and how much volume loss you had. But if you can bring a picture of yourself, I don't know, from 10 years ago, from 5 years ago, and we can have a look. You would never have anything. We honor the anatomy, the structure of the face. If you no, nothing is if you have a lot of volume loss, it would just be restoring the volume. So no, it would not be obvious. Entertaining. Actually, it was another question. Are skin boosters profiler? Profiler is a form of skin boosters. Yes, it is. It is. Great. I think we covered from 25 years ago. No. No. 5 years ago, 10 years ago, depends how old you are. So, but yes, it's not going to look obvious. I mean, if you never had high cheekbones, you're not going to be getting one now. Again, fillers need to be placed in a way that it's not going to be obvious to anybody else except you. Guys, I am going to love you and leave you, and I'm sorry that I was just rambling, but thank you so much for having me, and I hope that all makes sense. Bye, guys.